pretty quickly, so it hasn't quite loaded onto YouTube quite just yet. So the stream's up, the chat's up, we're all good to go. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round 21 of the Transnation Esports America's Sunday Championship. It's time for the Brazilian Grand Prix here at the legendary Autodromo José Carlos Pache, a 2.68 mile or 4.3 kilometer 15 turn racetrack that was opened in 1940. As I said, it's one of the most legendary circuits in the world of Formula One. It's up there with the likes of Spa, Monza, Suzuka, Monaco, in terms of its just sort of that legendary status, really. It is a place that naturally develops great racing, regardless of whatever era of Formula One it may be. You look back in the recent past in terms of Brazilian Grand Prix, and a lot of them are very, very good races. Got, of course, the one in 2019. The one in 2012 was a pretty good one as well. Then we had a few good ones on the trot in 2008 and 2007, which were pretty intense as well. Of course, Michael Schumacher's famous comeback drive in 2006, tried to scrap for the title after getting a puncture on the first lap. He scrapped back to finish 5th or 6th off the top of my head. It was a fantastic drive. And of course, probably the most famous Brazilian Grand Prix of the lot, the 1991 Brazilian Grand Prix, where legend Ayrton Senna took his one and only home win here at Interlagos, and of course that famous radio message just after the checkered flag where he screamed into the radio. Just all the emotions were let out at once. It was a pretty epic moment. Somewhat ironically though, his greatest rival Alain Prost is the most successful driver here, with a total of 6 wins under his belt in his career at this circuit. So a little bit of rubbing into the salt, little rubbing of the salt into the wounds there for Ayrton, that his greatest rival was good around this racetrack, and for him he's only got 1 win, unfortunately. But time for qualifying here, which should be incredibly competitive as well, I would imagine, here at this circuit. In the recent past, where I've done commentating and racing around this circuit, qualifying is insanely competitive. Times are very, very close, so this should be fairly entertaining. And alongside me, once again, for tonight's race is Michael Garone Jr. Michael, it's a pleasure to have you alongside me today. Are you keen for this race here at Interlagos?
Yeah, iconic circuit. Ooh, so we've got our first retirement of the qualifying session.
Mary Bus.
Like Mary Bus, lost it at turn 1. Yeah, super excited to watch this race. Track that always provides some good action. Super iconic circuit. Obviously it's changed a lot from its original iteration, but yeah, some iconic races in real life. 2012, one of my personal favorite F1 races ever, being a Seb fan. Maybe not one of your favorites if you're an Alonso fan, but yeah, I mean, that's, if you haven't watched that race, I mean, I'm sure if you're an F1 fan, you've seen that race or heard about that race, but I'd suggest you go watch it if you've never seen that race in its entirety. Some fairly competitive times on the board. Close margins between Honda and KD. Daniel slots in the P3 right away, so guys dipping into the 7s already. I think we'll see these top guys make their way into the 1:06 bracket. I think you're going to have to do somewhere in the 1:06s to grab pole tonight. It looks a little bit cloudy, so I'm not sure what the forecast looks like for the race, but could throw some weather in there and make it real interesting.
Perhaps. That might be the reason why we're seeing everyone go out at once. But then again, Cameron in the Renault is on the medium compound tyre, which may suggest to me it's just going to be overcast. Conditions all race qualified. Doesn't say any rain, but there is a double cloud icon according to Stuart Leslie. So
shout out to our weatherman.
So when there is that double cloud thing, there's a chance of rain. There's this odd chance of rain that just appears out of nowhere. So drivers will have to be on their toes in this session.
And you mentioned Cam was on the mediums. He does a 7.8 on the medium tire, a little less than 0.6 slower than our fastest time so far. So that's the real competitive time on the slower tire. What else do we got going on?
Michael has just started a lap, so has Dustin Howe. Yeah, look at the times. We got 1 minute 7s in the top 4, then for the 1 minute 8 it's from 5th all the way down to 10th. And we got a low 9 with Christopher, and the rest of the drivers are in the 1 minute 9s.
Oh, no.
I must say, with this racetrack, it is by far and away the most competitive qualifying session in the season. It's either this
There's
or
the
Austria.
Rain.
Oh.
It's raining.
Oh, hello. Well, I hyped up qualifying, and then Brazil is like, nah, bro, I'm going to chuck in some wet weather 12 minutes in. Well, this pretty much is the end of qualifying now if the weather continues to deteriorate. Dustin won't be too happy about this. He's stuck right behind Marker here, and he can't get past him. There's a bow tie of dive just in behind. Oh, dearie me, Dustin, stay on the... Oh, and he's just... what was that all about, Dustin? Dearie me. Went to the far left for some reason. Oh, he almost goes into the back of Michael there as well. As Michael resets
markers. Okay.
Well,
I think he's
know
lost.
that the game will reset you if you go too far into the runoff area at turn 1.
Yeah. I think he got very, very confused as to why he ended up there and kind of froze for a second. I think that did impede Kyle just a tiny bit. I don't think that he would have improved on this lap anyway with the rain falling down. So, well, we got Honda that's about to start a lap, so he's thinking he can improve.
We'll have a look. But I don't think, with the rain coming down, I don't think you'll be able to improve. Let's have a look at KD's. Well, he's pulled out of the lap, actually. He chucked it into 0 ERS there, so... after that incident at turn 1, he's decided to pull out of the flying lap, do another one. Honda's just equaled his first sector. He is 14 thousandths of a second down on his personal best. Through Ferradura, which is turn 6 and 7, and then into turn 8, a tight hairpin here. First gear, short shifting to 3rd. Using first gear to get that extra rotation, short shifting to minimize wheel spin. Into Pico de Pato, which is turn 11. And through turn 12, downhill left-hander. Keep to the left-hand side, then over to the right-hand side for Junso. And he's equaled his second sector more or less. He's only improved by 7 thousandths of a second. And through the third sector, and the final corner of Arquibancadas. And across the line, he does improve by 2 thousandths of a second. That is actually ridiculous. Let me have a look at this, just quickly. Look at those sector times. They are almost identical. That is insane. My word.
Wow. I think Kyle was on a lap where he was going to improve and had a little bit of a moment. So, I don't know, with this rain kind of increasing, I don't think we're going to see many. I think Honda showed to only improve a couple thousandths of a second, that there's not much time left.
No, not at all. We'll see what Matthew can do. He's down by half a second in the first sector. Excuse me, first sector, so...
Yeah, Sean's down by about 2.5 tenths, so I don't think we're going to see much improvement. I think it's going to end qualifying more or less.
I have a feeling that's going to be the case as well. In fact, Matthew and Sean are now pulling into the pit lane. They're not even going to bother completing their flying lap. Preds is doing the same. But there is one driver on track at the
there's-
moment, and that's Ray Khan.
Yeah, he hasn't done a lap yet, so he's got to put something in. Sure, he could jump himself up a few spots as long as the rain doesn't get super heavy within the next minute or so.
Well, Joker's on a flying lap as well, but he's down by 2.5 tenths of a second, so yeah. There is no course of improvement here with how the conditions are like. But for Raid, he needs to try and set some sort of lap time. 17.2 in the first sector. He's not purple. There's no way on God's earth that he's purple in the first sector in these conditions. It's the typical Codemasters glitch with the track map. Through turn 8. Rain getting heavier and heavier.
Stewart's also out there about to start a lap. Well as Dustin, and I think we just seen KD. Yeah, Kyle's out on track as well, so...
Interesting.
I mean, I guess it doesn't hurt to try.
Maybe. I also did read that Stewart said there were similar conditions in the race, so perhaps they're just trying to gauge what the tyre is going to feel like in the race if they go through a similar situation.
Stewart is he's around.
I'll have a look in just a moment. Ray does a 1 minute 9.7, jumps to 17th place. That's that Honda's Soul.
Honda's retired in the pits, so
yeah,
I think that confirms there's no real improvement to be done.
Absolutely. It's always annoying when weather plays a role like this, where the only real competitive part of qualifying happens right at the beginning. It's a bit more interesting when it's sort of reversed, when it's raining and it becomes dry at the end. You'll see a whole heap of guys just scramble at the end of the session trying to set a lap time. It's always a bit funny to watch. But unfortunately, we don't have that. It's the complete opposite. Everyone scrambled out at the beginning. It was actually rather interesting to see the track map and all 20 cars on it at once. It's absolutely everywhere on the racetrack, just this sort of polka dot version of Interlagos. It was very, very interesting to see. But yeah, bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. A few drivers still setting flying laps for some reason. Matthew earlier is one of them. Coming up to the first sector, look at that, down by 6 tenths.
Tenths down.
In just 3 corners. Down by 6 tenths already.
Unfortunately, there's just nothing you can really do to find time in these track conditions. And it's frustrating, because I'm sure some of these guys are not where they want to be. But there's nothing you could do. You could do as many laps as you want, but the track conditions aren't going to get any better unless it clears up. Yeah, Matt's
pulled
out. Yeah. So I think that's really ended it. One of our reserves, Patrick, is on a lap.
He's done a 1:13.8. He can definitely improve on that time, but whether or not he'll improve position, I'm not sure. Ooh, missing the apex a little bit there. An awkward run into turn 9. And through turn 11. Just see what he's set to split times look like. A lot of the drivers just retiring from the session. And he's up by half a second, so yeah, he's on course to improve, but position-wise he won't. He'll stay in 19th place, starting on the last row, unless he has a dramatic improvement in the third and final sector. Crossing the line, it's a 1 minute 13.5, so he actually lost time in the third sector. That's a bit disappointing, but oh well. We could just wait on everyone to retire.
Took the wind out of our sails.
We'll just wait until the session is over, I guess.
Yeah, well, if we do have a few minutes, we got a few birthdays here in the server. First of all, Sebastian Flores, he's celebrating a birthday, so...
Oh, okay.
He's absent tonight. He's spending his birthday evening with his family. Also, Joseph, or Bucks, Monday driver. It's also his birthday, so happy birthday to both of them. If you watch this back, or if you're watching right now, yeah, happy birthdays. Hope you guys
be loving
enjoy
it
your day.
having a birthday so close to Christmas.
Oh yeah,
great.
that's always
double the presents, bro. Or maybe it's half. Maybe their parents just say, "Oh well, Christmas is only so far away. You only get one lot of presents then."
Yeah, my it's also going to be, now that I am thinking about it, it'll be Matt's birthday, Matthew Elliott's birthday on Tuesday. So happy early birthday to him. Also, going to be watching this, but happy birthday to her, I guess.
That's nice. But yeah, I don't know whether to feel happy for you fellas or very sad for you fellas, because I don't know if you get twice the amount of presents or half. Because my birthday's in the middle of May, so it's quite nice that, you know, there's two distinct periods of getting presents, so that's very good. Nah, happy birthday to all those gentlemen. Very nice to get through this year as well. Looking forward to 2021. Hopefully it'll be better than 2020. Fingers crossed at the very least. But,
yeah, I mean, you can't really get much worse than this year, can you?
Well, you say that.
Well,
it might.
Yeah.
I really don't want it to be, but it just might be. So, you know, be optimistic, keep an open mind, all that kind of thing. But and just something about this racetrack as well. I mentioned how brilliant it is. You know, it's so many legendary races: 2019, 2012, 2008. 2007, you know, all these great races. And the Brazilian government has the audacity to think that it's a good idea to replace it with a track in Rio. I mean...
Yeah, I did see that they just extended through to 2025.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, so that's a good thing.
To even have this thought. It's like a government in Belgium just decided, you know what, we're going to build this brand new racing facility to host Grand Prix racing, and we don't race at Spa.
Yeah, that's...
it's the same equivalent, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is a race that you can't get rid of.
No.
It's even, you know, they talked about how Silverstone kind of had a questionable future, but... You know, that's not really a race you could get rid of.
Well, put it long story
just one of the iconic...
Britain doesn't have any other Grade 1 racetrack in its country. It only has one Grade 1 racetrack, which is Silverstone. So they would have to upgrade a circuit if they want to host a race within the UK. Which they should, because one of the drivers on the current grid is a 7-time Formula 1 World Champion, and he's British. To not have a British Grand Prix would be a bit like not having a German Grand Prix during when Michael Schumacher was a driver. It was, you know, it's a bit blasphemy, really.
Yeah.
But, well, now we don't even have a German Grand Prix, and we have a 4-time German World Champion on the grid, so, you know.
Yeah, and it's very sad, because Hockenheim is a track that I really like.
Well, I guess we had a kind of German
Grand
Prix this year, didn't we?
Yeah.
Had that race in Nürburgring.
Nürburgring's not really the track for these current cars, though.
No, I completely agree. Anywho, that's the end of qualifying. It is Honda on pole. It's quite a common sight, really, in this championship, but only half a tenth of a second to KD in second place, and Joker rounds out the top 3. Cameron in 4th place, starting on the medium compound tyre. Have a go at that. That's not a bad lap time from the Renault driver. He'll be starting on the 2nd row on that medium compound tyre. So, being on the alternate strategy, that'll be a very interesting thing to keep an eye on in this race. That's for sure. But, yeah, somewhat similar overcast conditions, so Stuart was right. So drivers might have to worry about changing conditions at some point during this race. And it'll be in that, if it does rain, it'll be that horrible, it's not wet enough for intermediates, but it's definitely not dry enough for slicks, but the slicks are the better tyre. and the car will be absolutely horrible to drive. I hate those conditions so much.
Those are the worst conditions to drive by
You
far.
just feel like, oh, just get wetter so then I can put on the inters and then I'll be happy.
I'd rather monsoon conditions where I can't see in front of me.
I would much rather 2009 Malaysia. It's just pissing it down.
Than just wet enough to where slicks are terrible, but not wet enough to where you can use the inters. So
I hate it. It's by far and away my least favourite type of sort of track condition. It's just so horrible to drive on. A few drivers are actually starting on the medium compound tyre, so other than Cam, we've got Christopher in 12th place starting on the mediums. We got Polish Sniper starting on the mediums as well. Now, he just mentioned in the YouTube section just to keep an eye on his helmet. And from the colour, I'm guessing it's an Ayrton Senna helmet. Just a rough guess.
It looks like a...
Problem is, there's this halo
color scheme that would follow...
Let me have a look. Oh yeah, that's definitely a Senna helmet. In fact,
that's a nice little touch.
Is that the exact Senna helmet? Yes,
I don't think so. I don't know if it's in this year's game.
Can we get that? I don't know. It was definitely in 2019 because there was the Legends.
The Senna and the Prost helmet were in. I don't know if... I think he's actually gone in and done the best he can with the helmet customization. But yeah, that's a pretty...
that's nice.
Pretty nice touch. Looks like he's the only one who's actually thought about that, so...
Well, it's a nice little tribute
to Michael Poland.
It's a nice little tribute to Brazil's greatest racing driver. Without any shadow of doubt, it has to be Senna. To some people, they regard him as the greatest Formula One racing driver of all time. Which is definitely a quote you don't necessarily throw about. Obviously, some of the things he was capable of doing during his time in Formula One was simply unnatural, to put it simply. They were simply crazy things he was able to do during his time in the sport, his brief time in the sport, before he tragically lost his life at Imola. And it's now time for the race. Here at Interlagos, we have 5 red lights and it's lights out. And away we go, and it seems that Honda has gotten a fantastic start. Does he have the inside line? No, KD. Side by side. Oh, what's going on back here? Virtual safety car to... Oh my goodness. Oh, hear me. Careful how you rejoin the circuit, fellas. That could have been nasty. And Christopher, what?
Christopher's not made it 5 feet before...
He's got front wing damage as well. What's this happened?
And we've got a VSC. What happened?
So, what, maybe he just straight up didn't get off the line, maybe, and he got turned into a wall, perhaps? I'm not sure, but, And
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys with 5-second penalties after one sector. What has happened?
Well, we'll have to see what they've got them for.
Okay, so Patrick is collision with Christopher.
Oh, okay.
Bojan is collision with Salvonic. Salvonic is collision with Bojan. Preds is collision with... So messy start.
And they won't be able to get rid of those. They will 100% serve them. So it is KD who is our race leader. It's Honda in second, Joker in third. Cameron maintains his 4th place. And that's very important considering he is on the medium compound tyre. He's got Sean Yarborough on the back of him with Stuart Leslie right in behind. Savanek is under attack here from Matthew Elliott. This is for 7th place. Matthew deep on the brakes but not quite close enough to make any sort of move happen through Decido do Lago. So Salvanek holds on to 7th for now, but he's losing time to Stewart in front. Behind him, Bowtie with that 5-second penalty that he has to worry about. Same with Bojan in 10th place. Ray Cobb in 11th, all over the back of the racing point, trying to find a way past. through turn 10 into turn 11. Does he go down the inside like Lewis did? No, he doesn't. He'll stay in behind for now. Polish Sniper in 13th place. A bit of a laggy Meribus there. The Haas driver. It's a bit jumpy here and there. Oh, dearie me. And off the circuit goes Polish Sniper. I reckon Meribus went, oh my word.
Oh, that's
not just me, right, with Meribus.
Yeah, no, I'm getting the same thing.
Oh my word. Oh my word. That's not looking good. And I reckon he made contact with Sniper, which is the reason why he went off the racetrack at Junso. Oh, a bit sideways there too for Polish Sniper. Here comes Dustin Howe. They're going to go side by side down the Retro Aposta. Slingshot down the inside. Takes 13th place. Oh, as Meribus has disconnected. Uh-oh. Back towards the front of the field, shall we? KD still leading the way. Honda very much in touching distance, only 6 tenths behind, with Joker 8 tenths behind Honda. Top 3 relatively close together, then a bit of a gap to Cameron, who's actually building a bit of a margin to Sean, it appears to be. That gap's opened up to 1.2 seconds. And something I have not mentioned yet, and I'll probably ask you, what's the most ideal strategy around here at Interlagos?
If you start on the soft medium's going to be preferred, and then the guys on the mediums I think will just do a medium soft. So honestly, Cam sitting in 4th kind of all by himself right now is going to be really good for the second half of his race. He's going to be the quickest driver once he pits for those softs later on, so he's actually put himself in a really good position by starting on those mediums, whether he wanted to or not. I'm not sure if he actually wanted to do that. I think the weather came a little quicker than anticipated. But yeah, he's not fallen off too far from the top 3, and yeah, he's kind of pulling away from the cars behind, so
yeah, absolutely.
That'll be strategy to watch. Looks like Stewart's got around Sean.
Yeah, these two were having...
Now...
they were about side by side everywhere through Descida del Lago and up the hill towards Ferradura. They were side by side absolutely
You're going to see kind of classic Brazil league race where 5th to 8th all in a DRS train. Not much any of them can do.
Not yet.
Especially if you're somebody like Matt at the very back. I mean, where can you really go? Everybody in front of you's got DRS.
Well, this is where pit strategy comes into play, isn't it? The undercut or overcut, whichever.
Ooh,
oh, and off the circuit
there
goes
Salvanic.
Salvanic. There is a sort of auto-spin-ish curve that is turn 5. You touch the inside of that too much, it really unsettles the back end of the car. And I just wonder if that's what happened to him right there at the exit of Descida del Lago. He's now down in 8th place. A fair ways behind Matthew as well. There's a bit of catching up to do if he wants to stay with this battle. So doesn't have to worry about the 2 drivers behind him, as they have the same... Oh, well, Salvanic, Bowtie and Bojan, all of them have 5-second penalties after what happened at the start of the race. So they're going to probably lose a few positions, I imagine. I imagine when the first pit stops come in. Actually, when would the soft runners box for the medium tyre? What window are we looking at?
To get onto the mediums to go to the end, I think as early as lap 13, and then like as late as 15, 16.
Okay.
You can pit about lap 10 or 11 and then go on to the hards, but hards aren't super quick around here, so
no.
I don't know if that's something you should do unless if guys around you get that, decide to pit lap 10 or 11 and put on the hards, I think you should follow that just to cover. But if everybody else wants to do a soft medium, I just follow them. You're going to get caught out on the hards if you're the only one on them, so...
We've got a few battles here and there. We've got a battle for the lead that hasn't really sort of materialized, really. KD's been able to keep Honda at bay. I reckon that's because Honda's just saving ERS at this point. He has a plentiful amount in his back pocket. Compare that to KD, who's only got 12%, as I just mentioned, his ERS. So, yeah, it's not looking good for KD in terms of his ERS management. Honda should be able to look Honda soon.
As it sits, Honda's more than happy to just follow KD through and just strike later on in the race. I mean, he's sitting at a full battery right now, so he can make the move whenever he wants. We got a yellow flag in the middle sector.
Yeah, interesting. I noticed that Preds and Ray Cole were having a bit of a scrap, and then Ray just ends up in the infield. So I wonder what happened between those two. Perhaps there was a bit of contact, maybe front wheel to side pod contact. When you see something like that, tends to spin out the car for the most part. So I just wonder if that happened to Ray just then, losing a bit of time. So Bojan and Preds are now going to have a scrap through the center S, the most modern part of the racetrack. As you mentioned at the beginning of the stream, Michael, that this track has gone a few different layouts. The original was about twice as long as what this one is. Oh, Bojan was thinking about it. The Retro Aposta, Decida, Delago and Ferradura are actually in reverse to this current layout. And the center S just didn't exist. It used to be sort of a ring road that would go from the pit straight around Curva de Sol, and it would meet up at turn 7, really. Very hard to show on this map. Oh, hang on. What's this? Is that Polish Sniper off the racetrack? It is.
That is. He's made it back on. No damage it looks like, so just went for a little excursion, I think.
Exploring the track limits.
Oh, is Matt's starting to look at a move on Sean.
Let's have a look. Let's see what Matt can do. He is close. Sean goes to the left-hand side of the circuit. No, Matt is not close enough to attack just yet. Oh, a bit of understeer there. Couldn't quite carry the same speed that Sean was carrying through turn 4. Lost a little bit of time, not too much, just a little bit.
We missed it, but Honda's now your new leader. So he's used some of that battery, and I think he'll drive away from Kyle here with that disparity in ERS. And Daniel's within DRS of Kyle now as well, so three-way DRS train for the lead.
Yeah, and KD's used absolutely everything with the ERS just to try and keep up with Honda. Through the center S and then into curve. If here KD wants to counter-attack, I don't think he'll be able to though. Ooh, that's a fairly sharp movement to the left there from Honda, just to try and break the toe. Stays in front for now. See whether or not Honda's got enough car speed to try and pull away. The penalties up and down the field as well. Few with 5, few with 8, few with 6 seconds next to their names. Take the 2 yellow flags, that's Bojan.
Ooh, Bojan.
And gets the car going. I hope that's something that they add in the 2021 F1 game, is some sort of replay feature. I think that would be quite nice to have in game. But,
yeah, it'd be nice to see. We could go back and actually review some of the incidents that we don't see exactly, especially the incident we have at the start. We really don't have any idea what happened.
No, well, it's not typically
we'll
something you look out for, is it? Like,
no.
you expect everyone to... You look out for an accident turn 1, As Matthew gets past
That flies
Sean.
around Sean.
The power of DRS right there. It's absolutely slingshots by. He's now into 6th place with his next target being Stuart Leslie. So Sean's definitely not going to give up. Uses a DRS to close in a little bit. Hopefully he can stay on the back of Matthew's gearbox. The battle can keep going. Preds is on the back of Ray Khan, who is on the back of Bowtie. So we just might have a 3-way fight here for 9th. And we get a lovely aerial shot of the circuit. You can see some of the older parts of the original Interlagos. There's the ring road I was talking about, that sort of off-road there, between the Grand Prix, between turn 9 and just before turn 6. That sort of off-road in the middle used to be part of the original racetrack. As Raid is right on the back of Bowtie now. And it should be a fairly simple overtake, although he's run out of ERS. Bowtie has a little bit to play with. They're going to go side by side.
Oh.
5-second penalty for speeding in the pits.
A yellow flag for Christopher. Gone off somehow.
Still going though. He does have a damage. Oh, yeah, but into the wall. Those tyres would be absolutely shot to bits. And here comes the Mercedes. Oh, that could have been incredibly nasty. Oh, he does need to be unbelievably... Oh, and into the wall is... Interesting.
Oh, I don't think he's got any front wing left. No, it's all gone.
He drove hard right into the tyre barrier. We have Bowtie off the racetrack. Same with one of the Haasas.
He's done that.
And let me guess, he straight lined? I'm hazarding.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, not surprised.
We've got a safety car.
On lap 13, no less.
Yeah, and this is about the perfect time for
every
soft runners to pit.
Runner.
But this is kind of royally screwed
Cameron. I was just about to mention that. Cam's kind of screwed because of this. Can we see the card? No, it despawned. That is seriously unfortunate because that strategy that Cameron was on would have been incredibly interesting to see how it would have panned out. But now Cameron, what does he do? Does he stay out? Or does he come in for hard tyres, I guess? Because if he stays out, he will take the lead, but he's on older medium tyres, so he's probably going to get swallowed up anyway. But those
I think
behind him.
I think he's just got to pit for the hards here. He might get lucky, and we may see some guys put on the hards here just to be safe getting to the end, because it is a little bit early to put on the mediums to go to the end. We'll see.
Joker's on the mediums.
Joker's on the mediums.
Same as
Kyle on the
KD
medium.
and Honda.
And so is Honda, so... Honda got... Oh no, he didn't get held. Little camera glitch. See what Matt does. Matt puts on the medium. Stu's on the medium.
Someone's on the hards, that's Salvanic.
On the hards.
And look at the guys towards the back of the field, they're on the hards as well. Mark, Bojan, Polish Sniper, Bowtie Die, all of these guys on the hard tyre. So one driver on the softs though, that's Preds in 11th place, a bit unorthodox from him. Did he start on the soft tyre, Preds? Just
I will say this though, we had a similar situation. Brett and I commentate Tier 1 Assist for Nationals. We had a similar situation at our Brazil race where the safety car came out at about this time, and a couple guys put on the mediums, a couple guys put on the hards, and a hard runner won the race because the mediums fell off very abruptly towards the end, and the hard runner still had that little bit extra grip to get the lap time he needed, and won it after Pens. So if we see a similar situation to that, Cam's not totally out of this yet.
That may be true. Although, in that tier, is it fairly competitive towards the front? There's not a guy who stands head and shoulders above the rest?
Yeah, I think they were the two drivers that the top two kind of ran away with it, but the two drivers who it did come down to are quite equal on pace. So the winner of the race was actually a regional driver in US, J-Dunk. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was able to make the tires last while the medium runner in the lead wasn't, and he was able to get that gap low enough to win after penalties were taken into effect. So, I don't know here. We're going to have to see what Cam does in the early stage.
Well, he needs to keep it clean because penalties did play a factor in that race, and it will require those in front to get penalties as well. So, without penalties, going onto the medium tire is quicker, but if you have a sloppy stint and the guy on the higher tire doesn't, you'll have a better tire towards the end, so he'll be able to close in on you. And if you can't manage a good enough gap, you're in a fairly significant risk of losing position. So it's all about not getting those penalties, I guess, for any of the drivers pretty much in the top 8, really. I think all of those guys are pretty quick and competitive enough to try and win this thing. So
it's going to be an interesting one.
No, it's not.
You got to feel bad for Cam though. He's going to be doing this entire race on the slower set of tires compared to everybody else.
That is.
As we do have a safety car coming in this lap.
Excuse me. So Honda becomes a leader, slows the field down to a crawl. He'll decide when to go. KD needs to be on top of this. There he goes. I don't think KD should have been weaving his tyres too much there. It cost him a little bit in his reaction time. We're now back on the green flag racing. Sector 3 yellow flags. It's just a slow car, no need to worry. And also, just briefly, how many people towards the front of the field were on the hard tyre when they made their stop?
I think it would have been maybe two at the most. Oh, Peter Pan. Oh, that's a big crash.
Oh dear. Well, we would be under another safety car, but knowing the game, it's just yellow flag, so we don't need to worry. So what just happened there? Did you manage to catch?
I did not see it. I saw the yellow flag pop up and joined Matthew Martin's car and saw Peter Pan's car in total shambles. So.
Oh dear. Excuse me. But yeah, just back to our previous point. How many people towards the front of the field were on the hard tyre? Sort of that top 10.
If I think in the top 10, it would have been no more than 2 or 3. Oh, Michael Poland.
He has crashed into the wall and the virtual safety car deployed. And Marino went slamming on the brakes and Marybus ran into the back of him. I do believe Marybus gets a 5-second penalty, which he will serve. Ooh, yeah, it pulls it up.
Ran in a marker on the way to the pits. I think Marker's going to put on the mediums here.
I reckon he should.
He's going to put on the softs. Yeah,
maybe he went softer.
Are gonna make it.
Maybe he went softer with his tire.
Yeah, he might not have.
That second set.
He would have started on the mediums.
Did he start?
I think he was a medium starter, so.
We'll have a look. No, he started on the soft, so he would have a set of mediums somewhere. He's gone onto the soft tire, and they're definitely gonna make it. Oh, they're gonna be a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm just wondering because Cameron is the only driver in the top 8 that's on the hard compound tyre. He's sort of
he's kind of
the odd one out.
Stewart.
Here comes Stewart, just in behind. Reid has overtaken Sean Yarborough. No, not yet. Through turn 3, Curva de Sol and onto the Retro Aposta. Sean is right on the back of the Alpha Tauri. Doesn't quite send it though. Excuse me. I did a double stint for commentary last night. I'm probably losing my voice at this stage, so I might be coughing a few more times during the stream. Drivers all pretty much following each other, line astern. Then we sort of got a bit of a gap between Cameron and Joker. Then Joker's got a fairly big margin between himself and KD. So Joker sitting pretty in 3rd place, sort of by himself. Doesn't have to worry about Cameron at this stage of the race. Joker's on the better tyre. He should be able to pull away. As KD sets fastest lap at 1:09.
Ooh, KD's. Ooh. KD took a look on the inside of Honda. Couldn't get it done.
Now Honda will defend the inside line here. He sort of puts it in the middle of the road and KD doesn't go for it. And go the rest of the field through Descida de Lago, turns 4 and 5. Up the hill towards turn 6. And it appears that even towards the back of the field, things have spread out quite a bit as well. It's pretty much the battle for the top 8 is the only one of note. We do have Preds and Dustin Howe, but Preds is on soft compound tyres. Not quite sure what his game plan is, but I'll have to wait and see whether or not it works. Is that rain that I just saw them? No, it was just me.
That really spice things up.
That would. And that might put a bit of a halt on Cam's race as well on those hard tyres. That'll be shocking in those sort of slippery conditions.
Especially if it never gets wet enough for an intermediate tyre. Ooh. KD picks up his first penalty.
Yep. So now he has 3 seconds next to his name. So he has to deal with that when battling with Honda. Knowing Honda, he probably won't get a penalty during this race, though I could be wrong. Then comes the long DRS train from 4th place all the way down to 7th.
And somehow Sean's fallen off from this group. I mean, he was right on the back of Raidcon.
Yeah, it's...
And he's found himself 2 seconds back. I don't know.
I'm not sure either. Maybe he has some sort of damage that we can't see.
Raid just went off.
Oh my word.
So now Sean will actually find himself right behind Raid again.
Heading towards the center S. Sean is pretty close here. He needs a good run through here. Oh, missing the apex of turn 1. Look at how much time he lost because of it. It's about maybe a meter, 3/4 of a meter away from the apex, and he lost so much speed, so much momentum because of it. Oh, was that Raid just completely sideways at the Descida de Lago? He loses a place to Sean. My word. That was a heart and mouth moment for sure. Could have quite easily lost the car and crashed it into a wall. Luckily he didn't. So it's now just a 3-way battle for what is currently 4th place between Cameron, Stewart and Matthew Elliott, making their way up and over the 3rd sector around the final corner. They're going to start their 22nd lap. Stewart just doesn't seem close enough to attack just yet, even on the medium tyre.
Yeah, but Cam's not in a good place right now because he's having to He's having to use all his battery every lap just to stay in front here, and this is gonna really put a hindrance on the later stage of this race for him. I don't even think Stu is really in the position to make the move yet, but he's just gotta burn whatever ERS he has just to stay ahead. He can't afford to lose any more positions, as that's 2 cars in front of Cameron who have penalties.
Yep, Joker just got his first next to his name. And just notice as well that Matthew is burning up his ERS as well, same with Cameron, so seems like Stewart has pretty decent car speed, enough car speed to the point where he doesn't have to burn too much. He's burning a little bit there just to stay within that 1 second range of Cameron. Let's see here. Do you have that battle for the lead still going on? KD is still keeping Honda honest, but he is dumping absolutely everything. You compare that to Honda, he's on 30-odd%. Honda's in quite a nice position here. Has no real need to spend up his ERS either. Seems that he has good enough car speed alone.
Side by side, Sean. Oh, that was very close to an incident there.
And great commitment there from Raycon around the outside. Oh, and a bit of a moment there for Sean as well. The car was a bit sideways at the exit of 7, heading towards 8. And he caught it. But he also got a penalty for running wide there. It's a bit annoying, the track limits around here at Brazil. Just running wide at certain sections, it's very easy to gather penalties, particularly at corners like turn 2, turns 4 and 5, and after turn 7 on the exit. Very, very easy to gather warnings there. So, nice to see there is a bit of scrapping here and there on the racetrack. And KD still within half a second. And Honda's doing a fine job. KD trying and trying, using as much ERS as he can, but he just can't seem to get himself into a position to attack. Sean right on the back of Raycon. On the back of them is Salvanik on the hard tyre. So these two have been scrapping enough so then the McLaren of Salvanik is now going to get involved in this.
Yeah, it seems like he's making the hard tyre actually work.
And look at how much ERS he has. He has 100%. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
so that's just outright pace right there. Something to note, Daniel in the first stint was able to keep up with that top 3 pretty easily, and he's fallen off about 3.5 seconds to KD. He does have a lot more ERS than those two, so perhaps playing the long game, but yeah, it's kind of a bit weird that one to where he easily able to stay with them guys, and now he's just kind of fallen off in this stint. So.
And just now, Salvanik has overtaken Sean Yarborough for 8th place, and he's going to take Ray here.
Going to make the move
down the inside. Can't get it done though. Right on board with the McLaren. There's Sean just in behind, who just appears to be not so comfortable on that medium tyre. He's lost a lot of ground to the people he was fighting with. Ooh, that was a bit of a lag spike there from Sean, as I saw in the wing mirror. Also Vanek's McLaren. See here, even on the hard tyre, Raycon on the softer tyre isn't pulling away through the technical section. Oh, what on earth?
Ooh. What happened there?
Did he miss his braking point, or did Sean hit the back of it?
I don't think Sean was near him. I think he just totally missed. That was a little bit odd to see.
He missed absolutely everything, did he? Odd. I just... Okay.
Yeah,
Missed
A
everything.
huge lockup, maybe? I mean, the car just kind of went straight.
I didn't see any lockup. There was no smoke. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, dear oh dear. That is one of the oddest incidents I have seen in quite some time. Just missing everything. The 50 board is missing, but you do have the 100 board still there, so you got some sort of reference if they're not using Racing Line. But yeah, very odd. In the meanwhile, Cameron has pulled away from Stuart Leslie. Gap has opened up to 1.5 seconds, so maybe these hard tyres are starting to come on song for Cameron. Stuart.
Yeah, and Matt's... Yeah, Stuart's still got some company behind him, so he's going to have to keep this pace up.
Sean makes a desperate pit stop, it seems. He wants to get off these medium tyres and he goes onto a set of softs.
A little surprised to see that.
I do understand, like, when you're on a tyre and it just feels absolutely shocking, regardless of what track position you have, unless you're towards the front of the field, you really want to get off get onto another set of tyres. And he was pretty okay on the softs.
Oh, and Matt's gotten around. It looks like Stuart's made a mistake.
I think you're right. It's very difficult to make a move through
the middle sector, yeah. So some kind of mishap for Stu.
Gap between Matthew and Cameron, 2.5 seconds. So yeah, I reckon you're right. So, with the field as it is right now, there's only 2 battles of note, one of which is the one between Matthew and Stewart. That is for 5th place. The other one being for the lead between Honda and KD. KD's driven fairly well as marker.
Yeah, I believe
marker.
so.
Stays off the racetrack.
And he wisely is going to let...
Just needs to try.
Oh, don't stop. He might get disqualified.
Yeah, watch him get a 10-second time penalty. Watch. Ah, it doesn't. You're joking. It typically does. Now he has to be careful. His tyres will be stone cold. There comes Raid. Oh, and he gets off the racetrack. Dear me. Oh, and explores the infield here is Marker.
Oh, he's going to get a 10-second for this one.
Let's have a look.
Nope.
Oh, he doesn't. Incredible. So the game actually has a little bit of common sense. That's good to see.
Yeah, just a touch. Just a slight touch.
Of common sense. Yeah.
Every once in a while.
It makes one good decision. And this time it made 2 very, very quickly, so we just know as soon as we see someone go off the racetrack even a little bit, we'll know they'll just get instantly disqualified. What's the bet? Exceeding track limits, that's straight to jail card right there. Gets a disqualification, he's out. But in the midst of the shenanigans we just watched, KD has now fallen away from Honda. The gap has opened up to 1.5 seconds. So it appears that KD's assault for the lead of the race appears to be over. Honda's got quite a healthy margin there. And also KD with his penalty, it's going to be difficult for him to even have any remote chance of winning unless Honda makes some sort of catastrophic mistake. And now the field is starting to spread out quite a bit. It's starting to look like what qualifying looked like. Just absolutely everyone everywhere.
I think tire wear is coming into effect, and we're seeing some guys who've managed a little bit better than others. I think with all this battery that Daniel has left over, he could perhaps make a charge toward Kyle. He's got less penalties than him anyway, so.
Yeah, Kyle has.
And still nothing for Cameron in terms of some kind of comeback in the latter stages. We still got 6 to go, but yeah, it's kind of a little bit too far back to make anything happen, I think.
But Cameron's got a healthy margin to Matthew, so he doesn't have to worry about Matt too much. Matt, though, he does have to worry a little bit about Stewart. Stewart doesn't have any penalties next to his name, neither does Matthew. So if Matthew makes any sort of error, he's in a lot of trouble, because he'll have Stewart all over the back of him. So Marino gets a 3-second time penalty. Ray Con gets a 3-second time penalty. It's just a Alfa Romeo just wandering off the racetrack, just trying to let everyone by. That's what caused the yellow flag then. Very much a 3-second time penalty. Dear me. Out of all the Brazilians Grand Prix that I've watched in my commentating career, this is one of the most anticlimactic endings I have seen. We had a safety car period and everything, and not much has turned out from it. Although the margins are close. Like, it's not like the leaders just picked up and left. I mean, the gap is only 2.5 seconds, so.
Yeah, we saw the top two within a second of each other for most of this race, and it just seems like Honda's done a better job at saving his stuff here for the last few laps.
Absolutely.
And now he's just fully driving away. So very, very, very mature drive from him. Just done what he's needed to do. Never really... At this track, if you have somebody that you know is quite equal to you on pace, you know for most of the race they're going to be within that second of you, just using up that DRS behind you. So you just got to, stay focused on the task at hand. And he's done a good job of that. So,
well, that's something that Matthew now has to worry about. Stewart's now on the back of him. Gap only 0.7 of a second. They're making their way around to the end of the second sector through Jinso, probably the most important corner on the racetrack, in all fairness, as it dictates the entirety of the third sector, as pretty much the rest of it is completely flat out. Stewart right on the back, DRS open, is gaining a little bit, using that DRS, a bit of a lock-up as well, into turn 1 and through the center S. Through turn 3, as Marker has decided to retire in the pit lane. So, anything else going on? We do have Sean on the back of Bojan. This will be for 10th place outright, of course, with the adjusted standings. Both cars will most likely be finishing in the points. Yes, they will be, as we've got two.
We got quite a few. I think we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 in the top 10.
Oh, dearie me, that was and Bojan, that's, oh dear. Bojan's just turned hard into him, I think there.
Sean's gone for a spin.
And there was a brief wide moment. That
Yeah,
AI
with the
was
retired
right
car.
in the middle of Bojan and Sean just then, and Sean off the racetrack, just letting people
Oh, Marino!
He's crashed. There's not enough laps remaining for a safety car to come out, so what has happened to him though? That is an odd place to crash.
Yeah, it's that's an interesting one, to say the least.
And KD has now lost a significant amount of time to Honda, and Joker's now all over the back of him. So, but yeah, that battle there between Bojan and Sean, that was for the final point scoring place. Overall, of course, with the adjusted standings, that changes, but Sean, that's a bit disappointing there. He had the inside line and made contact with Bojan. And wouldn't be too.
He just retired in the pits.
I would not be surprised then if there was some sort of report regarding that after the race.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
the
he
case.
would have scored some points though.
He would have,
That's
but
well, he has completed 90%.
well, if
As
it depends on how you fellas rule classification, because you're
yeah,
quite correct. He did do
they do
90%
have to
of the
complete
race.
90%, but he's going to lose out on a position at least to Matthew Martin. He's a full timer. Patrick is a reserve, and he might lose out to Marybus as a full timer. So it's not going to be many points for him, I
Well,
don't think.
Marybus is 5 laps down, so he's
Oh, is he?
technically yeah, he's technically.
How is
Oh, sorry,
how has
no,
he got
he's
that
only
many
done
laps
5
down?
laps. I think. Sorry, no, it's 2 laps. I think. Interval lead up. 3 laps. Sorry, 3 laps down.
3 laps down.
I read the 5 laps next to the tyre wear, and I instantly 4 or 5 laps down. But no, he's 3 laps down. So he'll do 33 laps when he crosses the line, as Joker has made a move on KD. Well, attempted to, but KD's hanging on. Round curve at the Sol, down the inside goes Joker. It's a relatively straightforward pass there, but KD just might be able to counter-attack if he can keep with him through the second sector and use the DRS. He might be able to have a drag race with Joker right at the end. And it appears as if that even with the penalties, I think KD just might be able to hang on to 3rd overall. So gap is 7.1 seconds to Cameron. So Salvanik and Raycon are having a scrap on the final lap. Final lap dash, 4 positions here. Raid all over the back of him. Can't quite make any sort of move though. Meanwhile, right at the front of the field, it's another typical sight here in the Sunday Championship. Honda takes the win here at Interlagos by a healthy margin as well.
Oh!
Joker crosses the line in 2nd, 6.2 seconds behind our race winner. KD in 3rd, Cameron in 4th place. Elia hangs on to 5th overall with Stuart Leslie in 6th. Now with penalties, I'll just quickly go to that. Salvanik will finish in front. Marybus disqualified from the session. Too many penalties next to his name, so he will not score points. Raycon in 8th. Dustin Howe will cross the line in 9th. Bojan in 10th place overall. But there we go. Fairly close finish between P5 and P6. Matthew just edging out Stewart in the end by 6/10. Freds crosses the line. Final finisher in 11th. Raycon, given driver of the day. We'll have a look at their performance when we see the leaderboard. But time for the podium celebrations, and it's quite a typical sight. Andrew Honda, another fine performance, another victory next to his name, with Joker in 2nd place and KD in 3rd. A fine performance for him. Had a good scrap with Honda for the most part of that race, and towards the end just lost a lot of time and eventually fell to 3rd. So there we go. Oh, and he gets fastest lap as well, a 1:09.139. A couple of tenths quicker than KD, who was his closest rival in terms of lap time. Raycon from 17th to 8th, quite an understandable reason why he got driver of the day, making up 9 positions over the course of the race. Pretty solid performance. The other finishers being Cameron in 4th, Matthew in 5th, Stuart Leslie in 6th, Salvanik in 7th, Raid in 8th, Dustin Howe in 9th, and Bojan rounding out the top 10. So with the adjusted results, that would mean Honda would win, with Cameron in 2nd and Matthew Elia in 3rd place, another podium for him. Stewart in 4th. Salvanik is a full-time driver, so that will be 5th. 6th would be Dustin House. 7th would be Bojan Preds would be 8th. Black Raiders would be 9th. And technically Sean Yarborough would be in 10th place. But we'll have to see how that pans out, I suppose. Considering he did retire in the pits, but he is technically classified as he's done the required amount of laps. So
yeah, we'll have to. I believe he will get whatever points after the adjustment. I think it'll be about P9 or P10. So I believe he will get that point or two. But yeah, we got our first podium scorer that's joined the party. And I think we're only gonna get Cameron. Don't believe Honda's gonna join us.
that's okay. Yeah, I just noticed a comment from Sean got punted off the track 3 times, according to him. Reason why he decided to retire in the pit lane, and I somewhat understand that. When you get shafted during a race, it's very hard to find motivation to just keep going. Even if you find a way to score points, it's very it's a great way to sort of destroy motivation to just keep going, and so I do understand that. Though I have seen some pretty decent drives in my time commentating where a driver gets shafted early on and then they just pull out this magical result out of nowhere. One of the best that I've seen was a driver that got a drive-through penalty right at the beginning of a United States Grand Prix. They were on pole as well, and they jump-started, so they got a drive-through penalty.
Oh no.
And then they proceeded to do exactly what Mark Webber did in 2009 at the German Grand Prix, but the difference being Mark at the time could serve his drive-through at any time. He just had to serve it at some point during the race. Whereas in game you have to serve it after 3 laps, I think, otherwise you'll get disqualified. He served it, and somehow, some way, it went down to the final lap as well, where he managed to win after one driver in front of him had a penalty given to him on the final lap of the race. It was quite a amazing moment to see. After coming back from a drive-through penalty to come back to win was a pretty cool performance, and just shows what happens, you know, when you don't give up, when you keep going, when you keep fighting, you find a way. But luckily for him, I guess, it was earlier in the race. It was right at the beginning. When you get shafted from a penalty or from another driver, or you get this, you know, a drive-through penalty or something like that towards an end of a race, you just more or less give up at that point and just retire the car, which I somewhat understand. But,
Yeah, I learned my lesson about retiring in the pits.
A little earlier this year, like, I think
The only person we're gonna get is Matt tonight, so
oh, okay.
he's already here, so I guess we'll grab a
Alrighty
word with
then.
him.
We'll just do the one post-race interview then with Mr. Matthew earlier. Well, Matthew, a fine performance, another podium place. I would imagine you'd be pretty happy with that. But just take us through what happened in qualifying, the very short qualifying session, and what happened during the race for you.
Qualifying, only chance for one run, and I didn't put my best out there, but started P6, and then fairly decent start. I got a little biff and barge going on through turn 1. I tried to keep it clean, but people just don't know how to leave space. I was almost off the track, trying to leave space for everybody else, and then like turn 2, virtual safety car, and it kind of helped the congestion a little bit, I think. So then just following Apollo for a while. I don't know what happened to Sean. I was really hoping to fight him, but I got past him, and then after that, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, it was
Then-
very interesting to watch because he had pace early on, but as soon as he went onto the medium tire, he just completely fell off. It was very odd to see. I don't know.
Yeah, and like he was sticking close behind, and then all of a sudden he was just like 2 or 3 seconds behind me, and I didn't know what happened. And then just following Stu for a while until he made that little hiccup, and then took advantage of that and just tried to keep a nice gap so he couldn't pass me under DRS. That's pretty much about it. It was kind of boring, but a little sweaty at the same time.
What was the hiccup that Stuart made? Because we didn't quite catch it. We did notice he lost time, but we didn't quite catch what actually happened.
He had lost it out of a corner.
Okay.
I think it was out of turn 10, and got a little sideways. So I just took advantage of it and cruised right past him. But I was hoping that I could get a gap big enough, but he stayed within half a second after that. So then I just pulled away, then he'd reel me back in.
And luckily for you, there wasn't enough laps left for him to make any sort of assault.
Yeah, there was, I think, coming into the last lap, I kind of messed up coming out of turn 12 a little bit. But he made the same mistake, so it kind of blew his chance for it. I know he was killing me through Sector 2. You'd gained so much time. But I got to hold on, so I'll take it.
Absolutely. Another podium next to your name. So a few on the trot now. So continuing that good form that you've been on. Michael, anything to add?
Yeah. Congrats on another podium, Matt. That's a streak of like, what, how many now? 5, 6? Something like that?
I think so, I don't know.
Pretty lengthy streak, but either way, there was a incident where we had, I think, 4 or 5 guys get 5-second penalties right at the start, and it seemed like it happened right behind you. So were you aware of what happened, or did you catch any of it? Because we completely missed it. We just saw a little bit of mayhem, kind of dots everywhere, and then penalties pop up.
Well, it started in front of me. I don't know what happened. Everything bottled up. I think it was under a VSC. And I think Stu almost got into something. I was able to miss the guy in front, but maybe somebody got behind me. It was coming right around, I want to say, turn 10 or 8, right around in there, where it happened, and just bottlenecked everything up. But I tried to keep a little space. I think Sylvanik was in front of me, and he veered to the right, which kind of helped me out, but I don't know what happened behind me. I didn't feel any contact or anything.
I think Michael was trying to talk about what happened on the first lap at lap 1.
Yeah.
Oh, lap 1. I don't know what the hell happened there.
Yeah.
I was just tucked to the inside, trying to hold my line, and
Not crashing
then
into
all
anyone.
yeah, and then BSC came out before I think I even got to turn 2. So it was kind of a mayhem thing. I don't know what happened.
Okay. No, congratulations on another podium, continuing that fantastic little podium streak that you've got going. So I wouldn't be too surprised if you continued that form into the final round at Abu Dhabi. Is it one of your favorite circuits, or do you wish that the circuit just wasn't on the calendar full stop?
In terms of track design, it's a terrible track.
I
think
agree.
most people would agree with that. It's okay to drive. It's not the greatest. I like the sector 3. That's pretty fun. Sector 1's kind of fun too. I mean, you're kind of like in that stadium area, and then you got the little chicane and the hairpin. But Sector 2 is just garbage.
So, that's fair. So, anywho, fantastic result once again. And we'll see you next week in Abu Dhabi. Well done, Matt, on another third place finish.
Thank you, sir.
But considering that Cameron and Andrew
I
aren't
think
here.
we actually just had Cam join us. So
Oh, really? Do
there
I
was a
have
little
notifications turned off or something? Because I haven't seen
See,
I have
anything.
the problem where I have my notifications on, but I don't see when people join the party.
That is so strange. That I used to see people join the party all the time. What is this? Okay,
come on,
so that's
Sony.
that's nice to see that Cameron did actually join us. So, Cameron, sorry that I didn't see the notification pop up. I wish I did. But a fantastic drive from you, considering what happened during the race and how you were kind of shafted from the safety car. But just take us through what happened in qualifying, whether or not you intentionally wanted to start on the medium tyre or not, and just take us through what happened during the race.
Yeah, 100% was not intentional on start on mediums. That I always start on. Yeah, I always just throw a little practice stint out there on the medium tire, and then throw like if I'm able, if the circuit is short enough, and considering Brazil is a pretty short circuit as far as lap time goes, I was able to. I'm typically able to do 4 stints. And so, looking at the weather report, I was just assuming that I'd be able to get 4 stints in, and right after that medium stint, I put in that time, start dribbling just a little bit, and it was one of those situations where it's like, okay, I gotta rush out, get it on the sauce, and as soon as going out the pit exit, all the rain droplets started appearing on my screen, and then I was in the party chat with Chris and Honda, and they were already out there, on their out lap, and it was even bad for them. So I knew I had no chance to do anything better. I mean, I was like really close. Like if I pushed that last turn, going into that main straight, I could have maybe got like 1,000 or 2, on the soft tire. And, maybe honestly that would have been better just to choose to start on the soft, because I really think the medium tire just wasn't the tire to start that race on. I didn't get anything out of it. All the soft runners got their optimal stint with the safety car, and then they were able to go into the medium for the last, 19 laps, or 29 laps, or 19, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I would think that the hard tire would perform better, after like 15 laps on the mediums, because 15 laps on the mediums would put you in the 45, 48, 50% percentile, I would think, on wear. I think a lot of those guys had better tire management than I did, obviously, and yeah, I was kind of just like, I mean, I did have a good amount of battles with, Delta battles, especially DRS, with Stewart. He was putting a lot of pressure on me throughout both my medium and my hard stint, and then I noticed he was fighting with Klumberg pretty much the entire time, and Klumberg was able to overtake, and I guess that alleviated a lot of pressure off me due to them battling. And I was pretty much in a world of my own. I felt I couldn't keep pace with Joker, couldn't keep pace with that with the Joker KD and Honda train DRS train that formed, especially in that original soft stint. I just couldn't fight it, and especially I just didn't have the pace. I don't know what my race pace. I feel like quality's okay around here, but my race pace just isn't there. But was still able to run consistently and not make any mistakes. I don't think I got any warnings for track extension, so yeah, I was pleased. It was a good Sunday.
No, we were a bit disappointed for you when that safety car did come out, and you were sort of shafted for options. Like, you could have stayed out, then you were on older medium tyres compared to everyone else on fresh mediums, so you pretty much had only one thing to do, and that was to put on the hard tyre and go to the end. How did those tyres actually fare, in your opinion? How were they to drive on?
They're honestly, the difference between the medium and the hard tire, I don't think are very significant. I think the softs is the optimal. I think the difference between the soft and the medium is more severe than the medium to the hard.
Okay.
Yeah, because the softs are just really good. You're able to get a good amount of laps in, and mediums. Yeah, I mean, you could get 20 laps out of them, 15, well, max 20. I don't think you really want to go anything more. I'm pretty sure they were falling off. After talking to Honda, after he was going through his last couple laps, they were just pretty much off. And my hards, were very consistent. They're just very consistent through pretty much the entire second stint. And so yeah, they aren't terrible, but through the third sector, it's just kind of a nightmare. Yeah.
But, Michael, anything to add?
Nah, I mean, I think kind of summed it up perfectly. You got put in probably the worst position, forced to run on the slower tire compared to guys around you. But you did make the most out of the situation, solid P2 out of the full-timers. So, yeah, good for you to bounce back after you had that pedal issue. I think this is your first time back since then, so congrats on another podium, and you're here for Season 3. I hope to see some good things out of you.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, I definitely plan on sticking around for Season 3. I want to. I want another shot at Stewart, at fighting Stewart. I think Honda's going to be gone, so unfortunately I won't be able to fight him. But
Yeah, he's coming to race us on Mondays.
yeah, it would have been interesting if I was able to get that last couple weeks. I had my broken pedals in, for the championship standings between me and Stewart. But yeah, it's a lost battle at this point. I'm just hoping to maintain a podium with Klumberg not too far behind. I saw in the points.
So, going into the final round at Abu Dhabi, is it a round that you're looking forward to?
Oh yeah, I don't know. I love all tracks. I love tracks that aren't boring. I'm just not. Everyone loves Monza. It's a lot of straights. I prefer to be turning.
It is. You're absolutely right. In terms of technical capability, Monza has bugger all of it. It's just straights and chicanes. The only thing that's magnificent about Monza is its atmosphere with the Tifosi. I mean, to be in, the home country of Ferrari and see just red stands absolutely everywhere, and the amount of cheering that you would hear would be a magnificent thing to hear. But you're right, Monza isn't exactly the most brilliant racetrack in the world. It's just long straight, chicane, curve, chicane, lesmos, straight, chicane, straight.
I personally love being challenged by street circuits, basically circuits that require a lot of a technical ability to kind of adapt your racing style to get faster and faster. Because if you just stick to a certain form on most tracks, like Monza, you could really kind of get stuck into it's really hard to beat a lap time and improve your time on track like Monza because there's so little amount of turns to really kind of find that time. But yeah, I'm more technical and tracks like Abu Dhabi. There's a lot of opportunity I feel to kind of improve, and it really kind of pushes you. I feel to not overextend on each corner because especially sector 3, it's so easy just run a little wide or take a curve wrongly, and maintain traction is just a good key skill that I feel like Abu Dhabi kind of really forces you to pick up and learn.
I reckon the third sector will be a major dictator in qualifying. It's by far and away the most technical of the racetrack, and it's where time, for the most part, will be gained or lost. I mean, if you look at the first sector, that consists of turns 1 through 4, only one of them has a breaking point, and that's turn 1. Turns 4 are flat out. The second sector's basically straight, and that double hairpin / chicane thing that is turns 8 and 9. So yeah, for sure, that third sector would be a major dictator, I reckon, at Abu Dhabi, especially in qualifying. But we'll see how that goes for you fellas next week for the final round. And congratulations on a fine podium finish for you, Cam, and a fine second place here at Interlagos.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I reckon that will end the stream, Michael. not exactly the most amazing Brazilian Grand Prix I've seen, but I've seen worse. That's for sure. I've most definitely seen worse. So not bad at all. Thank you again for joining me. Your help is very much appreciated. And I'm guessing from your opinions of the racetrack that you're not looking forward to Abu Dhabi.
So I actually like the track on this game for some weird reason.
What?
So I am looking forward to racing it.
Ah, yes.
Not really looking forward to maybe calming it. Might get a little bit boring, but either way, it's been a really long. It'll be 22 weeks by the end of it, and it's kind of flown by. Yeah, it's amazing we've made it this far, and we're towards the end of the season. So, looking forward to the season finale, and yeah, should be. We'll hope for a good one.
Oh, yep, and it'll be after Christmas as well. It won't be in the new year yet, though. Not yet.
Yeah, I will. So we will have an off week next week. So we'll be off next week. The last week will be the 2nd and 3rd of January, if I have that correctly. The Sunday and Monday after New Year's. So yeah, give everybody a week off. 3rd and 4th. Sorry, I keep messing that up.
Okay.
Yeah, giving everybody a week off for the Christmas weekend. We know that not a lot of people are going to be in town or not be bothered to race the league race after spending time with family for the weekend. So, yeah, to everybody watching, enjoy your week off. Hope you get some good gifts and enjoy some time with family.
Yeah, let's hope you've been nice over the year of 2020. Otherwise, Santa Claus won't give you any bloody presents, will he? So, if that is the case, we'll have to see everyone in 2 weeks' time, with a fresh new year with 2021 and the final round of the championship, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, at the worst designed racetrack ever, in my opinion, the Yas Marina circuit. Until then, have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And until next time, good night.